Hi, Tia Monet, Miss Cardinal here. Before we get started with the misconceptions to pageantry, I wanted to talk just a little bit about how I started my journey in pageantry. So I'm gonna make this as short as possible, but long story short, I was a competitive dancer growing up. And I asked my mom when I was young, I said, Mom, can I do pageants? And I have a single mother, and she said, well, you know, pageants cost just as much as or more than dance competitions, so you need to choose one. Now, I was in the middle of the dance season, so I said, well, I guess the decision's been made for me. Skip to a couple years later, and I'm the captain of my dance team that I'm on. Worked so hard to get that title, and suddenly it snatched away from me just a couple weeks later for something that really wasn't quite my fault. But as a leader, this is a good leadership tip. When something happens, it all comes down on you. Everything falls on you, and you have to take responsibility for it. Whether it was your fault or not, you're the leader, you're the captain. So as a result, I lost my position as the captain, and I felt like I had no purpose in life anymore because this whole dance team was my whole life. And it was at that moment that I knew that it had to happen for a reason. Because right after that happened, and yes, I was depressed for a whole weekend, but after that happened, I was getting calls to teach dance classes for preschool kids. I was getting calls to do freelance dance gigs, and I was just doing all this stuff. But I felt like there was nothing that I could work towards that I was like challenging myself to do. So when it was competitive dance, I was challenging myself to stay in shape and have good stamina to win at dance competitions. When it was with the dance team that I was on, it was, you know, having that same stamina, but also learning a dance in a week or two to perform it at the game. With this, yeah, I was teaching dance classes and yeah, I was performing, but it was all stuff that I could do, and I didn't have to like push myself to do better. Insert pageants. And that is another thing that I wanted to touch on. The first misconception is first just knowing they exist. They are so much more accessible than you think they are. A lot of us, we see Miss America, Miss USA, Miss Universe, and we're like, well, where do you start, right? You start locally. And I dare you to just do a simple Google search or search up the state that you're in. So for me, Miss Virginia, you'll see a long list of local pageants that are in your area that you can compete in. Starting at the local level, entry fees are a lot cheaper than one would expect. So for the first local that I competed in, it was $100, and I did not even have to come out of pocket to pay that. So in coming videos, I'm going to go over some easy ways that we can just use our resources and make what we want happen for us. It's really easy and it's really cool. We just got to be a little creative. So once you win your local pageant, then you go on to compete for your state. And you're probably going to hold your local title for anywhere from a couple months to a year. And then you're going to compete. So for me, it would be competing for Miss Virginia. Whoever wins the crown to Miss Virginia will then go on to compete for Miss America. And in some of the other pageant competition systems, they'll compete globally and internationally, which is super cool. If you want to hear about my first local pageant experience, as embarrassing as it might be, make sure you click the link and check out that video. Again, my name is Tia Monet, and thanks so much for tuning in with me today. Make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to stay extraordinary. Bye.